What's going on, people? CP3, live from the lab. Redskins Panthers. Looks like another victory Monday. Redskins pull an upset, which I predicted in the pregame. If you check this out. Sorry we had some technical difficulties in the pregame. The feed got cut short. I apologize. Hopefully we don't have those same issues in this postgame live because it's Victory Monday. The Redskins pulled off a victory that no one had them winning. Defense balled out. We saw Darius Geis with his first 100-yard game of his career, first 2-touchdown game of his career. Adrian Peterson set the tone. Defense, 6 sacks, turnovers, pressure, contain, tackling. It was a good 3 quarters of football to watch because the team started out a little slow. We're down 14-0, but we definitely want to get in all of that. You can check out the stats streaming live. Robbie should be sharing the feed now to let y'all folks know we got the post-game live going. If you are not stuck in the house like myself, you should head down to Martini's Restaurant and Lounge down in Fort Washington, 725 Katy Drive. I know they're down there partying and celebrating another Redskins victory. That's 2 weeks in a row I haven't been able to get down there for a Victory Monday celebration. So make sure y'all go down there and party for me. They got good food, good drinks, cold beer, $5 drink specials, $5 food specials. Go down there and party with them. They got the second half games on now. I got Kansas City and Oakland on right now. I got the Bill Callahan post-game conference on right now. So I don't have the other stuff going on, but it's Victory Monday. This team is playing better. The defense, I can't wait to talk about the defense. But this is what we talked about on Sports on the Hill podcast after the bye week, after the transition that they made getting rid of Jay and bringing on Bill as the head coach. You saw a change in culture. You heard some rumblings about some of the players being upset because they had to practice during the bye week. Those folks are no longer starting. So you've seen the culture change. You're seeing this team play hard. Last week the reports came out that he laid into the team, especially the young guys, and you saw the performance they put up last week against Detroit. And then 2 weeks in a row, you have a gut check for your team. They was down 14-0 on the road. Everything was looking like, yeah, this was going to be another blowout like the Chicago game on Monday night when the Redskins couldn't stop anybody. But they made some in-game adjustments. And honestly, the keys to victory that I laid out in the beginning, but in the pregame, is like they hit every one of the ones that I talked about. And we're going to go over that in detail. Hold on, let me get my stuff together. All right, here we go. We're going to go over that in detail. Like last week, I took first half stats and we got the final stats so we can see how this team made adjustments and how things were going. Because the first quarter and a half, the offense couldn't get out its own way. If you watched the game, you heard that Panthers had 10 first downs, the Redskins had 1. Then it flipped where the Redskins had 11 first downs and the Panthers had 1 where the Redskins defense took over and took control of this game. They stayed close. They, got some field goals. They're getting back in the game, 14-6. Then Geis got in the game with that huge run down the sideline. They almost scored on that one in the first half, 60-yard run. It was a beautiful thing to watch with this running game and the defense and allowing them to, the offensive line that is, allowing the offensive line to dictate the pace of this game and control the line of scrimmage. We talked about over and over again since Bill Callahan has taken over how the running game has flourished because he sticks with the run. Previous coach, everyone was saying that this team isn't built to run, but with the same personnel, they're being successful. They ran for over 240 yards a day. So, it's a testament that this team has talent, but you have to have the right person pushing the buttons and putting these players in a position to win and to be successful. First half stats, I got the Facebook live feed going. I got the YouTube live feed going. So feel free to chime in with any questions, comments, celebrations, whatever you want. we're going to be here. First half stats. Haskins was 10 for 17 for 87 yards. Geis had 3 carries for 64 yards in the touch. He got that touchdown late after that turnover by the Panthers in their own end. Ill-advised throw. Thought Moreau scored the touchdown, but unfortunately, they got him at the half-yard line. Geis got the touchdown. Sims had 3 catches for 29 yards. We talked about in the pregame that other receivers will have to step up because McLaurin has been, carrying the wide receiving core, and we would need to see Harmon and Sims step up, which we did. And McLaurin really had no impact on this game. They were bracketing him and wouldn't allow him to beat them. And Harmon and Sims came up with some nice catches when they called their number. The team had 8 first downs in the first half. They went 1 for 6 on third down conversions. Had 90 rush yards, 64 pass yards with a total of 154 yards. 3 penalties for 30 yards in 13 minutes and 37 seconds of time of possession. So it didn't look that good at the beginning in the first half, even though they were only down 14-12 and we're getting the ball back. But we've seen this team come out at halftime and not have the same intensity and have the same execution in the second half. But they did. And for the final stats, they ended up with 20 first downs, went 3 for 11 on third down conversions, 248 yards rushing, 115 yards passing, for a total of 363 yards. Defense got 7 sacks. They gave up 4 sacks, and they ended up with 30 minutes and 37 seconds of time of possession. So they went from 13 minutes and got 17 minutes out of the 30 in the second half to control this game. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the third quarter situation with Ryan Anderson. If you were watching the Redskins post game on CSN, Trevor Maddich and Brian Mitchell has got into a nice little debate about that ejection of Ryan Anderson on the helmet-to-helmet hit that knocked Olsen out. And I don't feel it was justified to eject him out of the game. It was a football play. He was lowering his shoulder to try to hit him with the shoulder. Olsen lowered his shoulder also to absorb the hit, and their helmets collided. Helmet to helmet, okay, 15 yards. But he did not deserve to be ejected. Now, in the first half, when Trey Quinn was trying to catch a punt, it had almost a similar thing happen. Only difference was Trey Quinn didn't get a concussion. So now we penalizing teams because the player is hurt and not because it's violating the rules, just to appease the fans to make it look like they're trying to do something about the injuries, which is the argument that Brian Mitchell had. Trevor Mattich's argument was that, you're having less concussion stuff going on, and, Ryan Anderson didn't have to hit him like that, and he was already being wrapped up, and he could have did something else. But we've seen what happens when the defender doesn't wrap up or doesn't give his full, go trying to tackle somebody. People break tackles, get away, other stuff happens. So I can't agree with the ejecting them. If you have any comments, feel free to chime in. All right, Robbie, appreciate it. Yeah, he shared it to some groups. Yeah, the Ravens won. I went with them on my pick 'em, but I thought the 49ers were going to pull it out. But late field goal by Justin Tucker, 20-17. Both teams are now 10-2. Redskins are 3-9, so ain't no playoffs in our future. So no reason to even talk about that. But getting back to that hit, you can't throw him out of the game and not throw out the special teams player on for Carolina, because it was basically the exact same thing. But we're not going to dwell on the negative. We're going to talk about the positive. Darius Geis, 10 carries, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. The only blower of this for me is I had him on my bench in fantasy football, and I forgot to put him in the damn game. I had Stephon Diggs as my flex, so he better show out Monday night, because I'm playing against the number 1 dude who I'm the only person to put a loss on him earlier this year, and I'm trying to go 2-0 against the number 1 dude in our league, being that I didn't even draft this team, that I took it over for somebody else that was about to give it up. But we'll talk fantasy football another time. But Darius Geis, he definitely put on a show today. His run in the first half, that 60-yard run, he showed power, showed speed, and unfortunately couldn't get to the end zone to get that touchdown in the first half. But, I mean, That's everything that we've heard about this, that I've heard about this kid, because I didn't, see him in college much, and he was injured last year, got injured early in this year. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. He's running hard. One of my folks gave him the equation of he's like a smaller Marshawn Lynch. That's how he runs, and yeah, he runs angry, he runs forceful, and the only question is can he stay healthy? So he definitely had a great game. Adrian Peterson, he was still out there looking like trying to trying to play for another 10 years out there. He's making moves, running over people, always getting positive yards. He did have that on the first drive, that horrible whiff on a block coming straight up the gut that put the Redskins in a bad position on their first drive that made it look even worse than it did because they were -3 yards passing for the first quarter and a half. So they had to highlight that. And for all the folks that was watching the game and didn't have the Redskins radio playing, Greg Gumbel has been a Redskin hater for a long time. So I saw folks was getting upset with some of the stuff he was saying, but you should get used to it. He was an anchor here for a while, so he grew to hate the Redskins. He doesn't even say the name. So Greg Gumbel, because you had to call the Redskins victory, this shots to you, buddy. Now let's talk about Haskins. Gotta take a drink on this one. I'm seeing weekly progress. Hold up, let's see what Robbie said. He said 3-9 and there's all my favorite numbers respectively. Hey, 3 wins. Still looking at the top 5 draft pick, but we're seeing improvement. That's what it's all about, and that's what I'm going to talk about with Haskins. We're seeing weekly improvement. It started clicking earlier in the game. It didn't take to the fourth quarter, the team being down 10 points or whatever. And you heard the stat that they haven't come back from being 14 points down in any game since 2015 against Tampa Bay. That 33-31 game, they came back. Jay Gruden's only comeback victory, and they were able to do that. So Haskins, we talked about it over and over again. He's raw. He's a work in progress, but you see him improving every week. He's still holding the ball a little too long. He's still taking a little bit long to go through his progressions, but you see him doing it, and you see him getting better at it. It looks ugly, but that's what you get with growing pains with a rookie quarterback with limited snaps coming out of college. He's actually, to me, with only 14 snaps under his belt in college, and this being his fourth start, I think he's doing pretty well. Didn't have any turnovers. Had a couple of ugly plays, but that's the learning process. That's the learning curve. That's how it is sometimes. But he's definitely improving. It was good to have Chris Thompson back in the game. He didn't really get much action, but he was out for a number of weeks, 6, 7 weeks. So at least knowing the fact that he's back, that's another security blanket for him. Because remember, with no Jordan Reed, no Vernon Davis, and Jeremy Sprinkle is the number 1 tight end, that's normally quarterbacks' comfort, like their blanket, their security blanket. If nothing is downfield, they got their tight end, especially with the tight end caliber of Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis, what he's done in the league. So not having I ain't gonna say, well, I'm gonna go ahead and say not having a quality hands tight end, there is no threat. So their man covering him double, Brackett and McLaurin, and daring the other receivers to make a play. This week, Paul Richardson was out. We saw Kelvin Harmon, we saw Sims in there, and they made plays when needed. That's what this team needs. That's what the growing experience, the youth experience, you heard them talking about it. They're 22, 23, 24. Trey Quinn went out. They didn't miss a beat. That's what I say. With Trey, I don't know. But I like him, but he's not fitting in with this offense. And I guarantee they let him go. He goes somewhere else. He'll be the next Wes Welker and shit in the slot with the quick feet and making people miss. That's what I saw on tape with him in college, but we haven't seen that on the pro level. And we got to get these wide receivers, developing and maturing at the same rate we have the quarterback at. So they're going to be hand in hand. You got a young rookie, second-year running back. You got rookie, second-year, third-year wide receivers. It only makes sense that they develop together. Um, what's up, Clarence? Appreciate it, man. We just talking some Redskins. If you got any comments, feel free to chime in. I got the YouTube live going. Matter of fact, I need to check on that, see if I got any comments on there also. I appreciate y'all checking us out. You could be checking out anybody else. But you're checking out Sports on the Hill podcast on True Radio Network. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We'll be talking Capitals, Redskins, Victory Monday, of course. Talking Wizards and their West Coast trip. I mentioned in the pregame that they have a matchup against the Clippers tonight, which doesn't really bode well for them, but that's why they play the game. Anything can happen, even though I don't think that it's going to turn out well for them. But getting back to football, with Haskins, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I didn't really see him. I don't watch college, so I didn't see what he did in college, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's a progression. It's what you have to do as a young quarterback. And the fact that he's got 2 wins back to back, how can you be mad at that? I know some folks going to find a way to get mad talking about draft position and why are you winning now and this and that. So you want them to tank the rest of the season? No, that's not what an athlete does. That might be your mentality and your dead-end job that you don't want to do no extra because it ain't no extra in it for you. That ain't how athletes' minds work. They're going to give it their all no matter what. And if they lose or don't reach their goal, they're going to try harder and try to make their goal come to fruition. That's what it's all about. So this team is playing hard, playing well. I can't, offense with the slow start. I give them a C. Nah, I can't give them a C. They got 29 points today. I got to give them a B minus. I give the offense a B minus. Now defense, I was loving from the second quarter on. First quarter, you saw miscommunications, you saw blown assignments, you saw missed tackles. But then you saw him go on the sideline, talk, communicate, make adjustments, and everything started working. One of the keys was contain McCaffrey. He's been averaging, he's like I said, he's leading the league in rushing. He turned all the stats in the beginning of the game. They was giving him all the kudos, all the shout-outs on the first 2 drives when, Carolina was doing their thing. But the Redskins held him down, contained him, didn't get in the end zone. I think he had 47 yards rushing, like 40-something yards receiving. He was averaging like 100 yards rushing and like 60 yards receiving a game. So they did a great job on containing him. Wide receivers ain't really do too much. DJ Moore had some catches, late. There was some blown coverage like we talked about. Greg Olsen, before he got injured, didn't really, hurt the team. They've been covering that seam route to the tight ends very well this year. We spoke about that at the beginning of the year, with the Redskins finally be able to stop getting burnt on that route. And pretty much they have been. You got to take your hat off to Minuski. He didn't go passive and sit in zone all day like we've seen in the past. He sent pressure. You saw them, had them lined up 7 in. They sent 7 in. Excuse me. So, got to give him kudos. Quentin Dunbar with 2 almost interceptions today. He had a chance to, not have us sweating it in the end zone late in the fourth quarter when he had the ball hit him right in the hands. He undercut the route. And he had one like in the second quarter on the sideline that, cut the flip field position and help get back from that 14-6 deficit. But you really can't be mad at him. He played quality defense. Like I said, nobody really got out. Kyle Allen, he looked good in that first, 2 series, but after that, they pretty much, shut down that offense. Ioannidis had 2 sacks. Montez Sweat had 2 sacks. Who else had sacks? Let me get my stats out real quick. Let's see. Yeah, they had Ioannidis had 2 sacks. That's the first half. The second half. Didn't break it down. I guess I didn't break it down. I thought I did. Well, I didn't break it down. We'll break it down tomorrow. I guess I'll go back to my keys to victory that I broke down in the pregame. I'm not sure if that went through on the feed. So I'll go through my keys to victory and check off the ones that apply to this game. As Dwayne Haskins is taking the podium right now. I'm watching the postgame live, and I'm watching the Kansas City-Oakland game. Kansas City is up 7-0 with 10:15 left in the second quarter. It's 4th and 1. Oakland's going for it. Look like right across the 50-yard line, just in Kansas City territory. They're at the 45 of Kansas City going for the first down. They're 8 for 12 for the season. Play clock is at 3. Hand off. Jet sweep. Oh, and they contain. There's no way he shouldn't have got that first. It was a cornerback out there being blocked, and the cornerback found a way to make a play and stop him on fourth down. Turnover on downs. Kansas City has the ball on their 45, looking to add to their 7-0 lead. Going back to this game, had contained Christian McCaffrey, Jack, forced turnovers and get off the field on third down. They forced turnovers, but they didn't really get off the field on third down. They gave up, a decent number. I don't have the stats in front of me there on your screen. If it come up, I'll give you the numbers. But get Haskins comfortable with the run game, play action pass, move in the pocket. We saw all of those things. Didn't really see much play action pass. We saw some, but we didn't see any connections. McLaurin pretty much got shut down. This game, Carolina was definitely paying a lot of attention to him. That's why Harmon and Sims were able to contribute because they were in man coverage, single coverage, and found a way, sometimes wide open, and found a way to make the play when they called their number. Wide receivers other than McLaurin, yep, I just said that. Get pressure and force mistakes. 6 sacks last 2 weeks, 12 sacks, and fumble recovery, interception. They had 3 turnovers last week, 2 turnovers this week. So the defense is playing pretty well. This is the vision we had for the defense when we talked earlier this season. And like they mentioned, we were short people. Ryan Kerrigan wasn't there. Ryan Anderson that got thrown out. Montez Sweat had an injury where he didn't play much of the fourth quarter. They had the 2 pickups. What was his name? I wrote it down. Can I only read my own handwriting? What was his name? Yeah, Nate Orchard. Signed during the week. They were talking about him on the post game. Came up huge and a couple of times getting pressure. Didn't necessarily get the sack, but rushed the quarterback, make him make bad throws, and get him off the field, get him out the game. The Redskins played a hell of a game, and it was good to see this team compete. A lot of folks say, "Oh, it's the Panthers. They're 5-6," but they were still fighting for a wild card spot. So this was a team that was hungry in Carolina on the road, found a way to win. I mean, you got to attribute that to coaching. You got to attribute that to team being ready, the team have a quality game plan, the team executing when it needed to. It's not always the prettiest with this team, but it's about executing. Sometimes it's ugly, but it's still a win. It is what it is. You got to take it for what it is. When the talent increases and the game plans, cater to the strengths of the offense once they figure out what they are, then you'll start seeing, more pretty plays, more plays where, they get the chemistry and, time and everything is beautiful on it. But they're going to get there. Got to go back to the offensive line because didn't give him a lot of credit. Eric Flowers. Everybody was hemming and hawing when they picked him up in the offseason. And we told him he was going to convert to guard. He was like, no, that's not going to work. He's been stellar at that left guard position. You had Christensen come in for Morgan Moses on the right side. He gave us some stuff, but remember, he had been practicing at left tackle. I think he's a natural right tackle, but remember, they had him filling in and playing left tackle before Donald Penn came in. And then remember, Donald Penn didn't get to start last week, who was over on the left side. So the fact that he was able to come on the right side and they were able to put up 248 yards rushing, really can't be too mad. I mean, folks still going to be mad, but he played well. Royer, the center, had a crucial recovery of a fumble when the ball got hit out of Haskins' hand on a pressure on a third down, deep in their territory. Well, not deep, but in their territory. Offensive line being aware, playing good ball. Landon Collins out there, paying dividends, free agent acquisition, leading the team in tackles, leading the team as a leader. You don't really hear too much out of his mouth. You see him lead by example on a play on the field. Can't be mad at that. Dunbar, Moreau. Oh, got to shout out Fabian Moreau. 3 interceptions in 2 games. I think that last one was an interception too, man. I think they ain't want to give it to you. The black gloves on the turf, I think it hit your hands and bounced up to your face mask. That's what I thought with the black turf. That's why I was trying to figure out how do they overturn it without any conclusive footage if they ruled it an interception on the field. But I knew they was going to take it away from you because that's what they do against the Redskins. They're not going to let you shine too much. They were already winning the game. They're not going to have him two back-to-back two interception games. No, they're not going to let that happen. So that's just a joke, but I'm serious too. But defense balled out. Bostic was all over the place. Holcomb, rookie, playing well. Oh, I didn't talk about the Bruce Allen situation in the pregame. So I guess I'll talk about it now. Yeah, I know how I feel about Bruce Allen. A lot of folks look at me sideways when I tell folks I don't have a problem with Bruce Allen. This fire Bruce Allen hashtag stuff, and I haven't been behind it because he's improved his team. Might not be the leaps and bounds that everybody wants in their lofty expectations, or think that someone is going to be able to come in and fix the disaster that Vinny Serrato, ex-GM, left in his wake. And that's the only thing I blame Daniel Snyder for, is leaving Serrato to screw the franchise for that long before he got rid of him. Bruce Allen has got a scouting department where we have drafted players actually making plays on our team, not with some other team, because they didn't work out here after a couple of years. We're under the salary cap. We don't have those character issues that we were having where every week we would turn on to see one of our players on the news for something negative. He's added some structure with Doug Williams in the front office, who does most of the drafting. Allen has input. He's a money guy. He's a cap guy. He's not a true GM. So firing him, I believe that evaluation article that came out is to appease y'all, to shut y'all up, because I know they're tired of hearing it, because I'm tired of hearing it. Because in the game now, there is no perfect person that's going to just fit in and get everything right. You have franchises that have a structure that's set up. Baltimore, New England, San Francisco, the way they set their structure up, which is the way the Redskins have their structure now. It takes time to get it to go. It's not just snap your fingers and it's going to work. So this fire Bruce Allen stuff, y'all can keep on hashtagging all you want. It is what it is. I feel like he's improved his team from where it was. Not saying it's where it needs to be, but things aren't the way of the old days and the old glory years of the Redskins when they won. There's free agency. There's a salary cap. There's a whole bunch of other things that go on now that didn't go on back then when the teams could lock down a player for 10 years on a BS contract and there's no way they can get out of it. You don't have that now. Players are free to do what they want, go where they want, play where they want, and get a lot of money doing it. Then you have to have the right players. Then you have to have the right coach behind them pushing. Now you're seeing Bill Callahan, an old school coach that knows how to relate to the younger players because he was a college coach, a successful college coach, and as an NFL head coach, knows how to talk to people as men. Proven offensive line coach. So he knows the strength of this team, which is what? Running the ball. We've been saying this over and over again. Myself, Dujanay, Diane Cheeseborough, all the folks that come in, even when I had Doc Walker on last year, we all talked about the same thing, this team running the ball. Good things happen when you run the ball. And that's what we're seeing. This team playing to its strengths now and not trying to live up to some vision that some guy has in his head for what the team should do to win and not doing what the team needs to do to win. So, I mean, a win is a win. Victory Monday, it's a beautiful thing. Redskins playing some quality ball. Not saying them against the top opponents or whatever, but they got 3 wins. Miami also got their 3rd win. They beat Philadelphia today. That goes against my pick'em too, but that's how crazy the NFL is. Philadelphia was riding high. They were talking about Philadelphia making the playoffs when the NFC East. Redskins got their first victory against the Dolphins, and the Eagles couldn't even beat them. That's the NFL, baby. What can you do? But I'm about to get out of here, start enjoying this second game, get ready for the show tomorrow night. We got Capitals, we got Wizards, we got Redskins. I'll see if I can get Paul, the boxing guy, to get on this week. He couldn't make it last week to recap last week's action with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. But I know there's some more fights coming up, so I'm going to hit him up. He should be able to come on. We can probably talk some boxing, too. You can always call in on the True Radio Network hotline, 347-884-9299. You can check the Facebook live feed or the YouTube live feed. Like I say, if you want to get out, I know it's kind of rainy out, but if you want to get out, head down to Martini's down in Fort Washington, 725 Katy Drive, NFL game day. They probably got the games on. They got the good food. They got the drinks. Get some of the wings, man. I ain't been down in a couple of weeks. I'm feeling for some of those wings with the martini sauce. Tell them CP3 sent you. Go grab some good food, some good drinks, some cold beer, and enjoy. I'm about to get out of here. Got to make some videos for tomorrow. The highlights of this game, highlights of the Capitals week, highlights of the Wizards week. I don't know if I'm going to do Wizards highlights. I don't think there really are that many. But we'll talk about it tomorrow night. Sports on the Hill podcast on True Radio Network, coming to you live, as always. DC Sports Weather Politics, CP3 live from the lab, and I'm out.